Hi friends, Shayla here, and I am here to do my reread roundup for the month of April. So in the month of April, I reread 3 things. If you're unfamiliar with this series on my channel because you're new, welcome. I would love it if you would subscribe and click the little bell so you know when I post new videos. But this is where I talk about the things that I have read for at least the second time in the particular month. I have a goal this year to reread 1 manga series and 1 novel every month because I have this beautiful collection and I'm hoping to further narrow down exactly what I'm loving in my collection, and I can't do that without rereading some titles. And so that's kind of what I've been doing this year. It's been really fun so far, and let's go ahead and dive into the things that I reread in the month of April. So first up, this was a manga series that I originally read digitally and it is now printing physically, and that is Perfect World Volume 1. This is a series that I absolutely have loved and adored. This is about a young woman named Sugumi, and in high school she had a crush on this guy named Itsuki. She never really had an opportunity to confess her feelings to him for various reasons that are unknown in this first volume but are revealed later in the series. And they all of a sudden are reacquainted with each other at a work dinner because they are going to be working together because the companies they work for have recently partnered and are working on some projects together. So that puts them directly involved with one another. What's happened since they graduated high school, so it's been about 8 years. When he was in college, he was in a car accident and was paralyzed and is now in a wheelchair. Now, in this series, we are getting to know these two characters once again. You know, they're getting to know each other as adults as opposed to as teenagers, and obviously kind of starting from square one in a lot of ways because they didn't really interact too much in high school. They did some, but not a lot. This, I feel like, everybody that I know that has read this has talked very highly of the representation of being in a wheelchair and paralyzed. Obviously, I can't quote that for myself because that is an experience that I don't personally have. But based on mine and other reviews, you can expect the representation to be pretty well done. I'm not going to say it's perfect because I don't know. And I'm never going to say that I do. But I feel like it's very well represented. I mean, they don't hide behind anything. I mean, there's a point where Itsuki is hospitalized for complications with his paralyzation. And I think that's the word, paralyzation, being paralyzed, whatever it is. You get to see the journey that these two characters go on, whether they go down the romance path, whether they go down the friendship path, the coworker path. There's lots of paths open to them in this first volume, and the whole series is about their journey. And it's really interesting. I really enjoy this, and we get to see a lot of sides of the characters, but obviously there's still a lot more to see. So with that said, I do strongly recommend picking up this series. Like I say, I've read it digitally and absolutely loved it. The physical print of it from Kodansha is really well done, and I think it's definitely worth a pickup. The actual full manga series that I ended up rereading this month was Wake Up Sleeping Beauty. I did do an entire reaction vlog to this particular series, so I will leave that linked in the card symbol for you so you can go and check out my in-depth thoughts over there if you are interested in them. But in this one, we are following a young man named Tetsu, and Tetsu has a very strong desire to not go to college and to enter the workforce instead. There are some family circumstances that lead him to this, but that is essentially why he is very motivated, and he gets into a fight with his father over it. So to prove to his father that he can hack it in the workforce, essentially, he starts working part-time for his father at his house cleaning company, as well as picking up other jobs that his dad doesn't really know about. One of these jobs is the housekeeping job. He works for this rich family, and there's an annex of the house, and they say, don't go near the annex of the house. Rumor has it that the young lady of the family, the daughter of the family, lives there, but a lot of people assume she's dead, and she's a ghost that just haunts this annex of the house. Tetsu's working really hard out in the yard one day. He takes out the garbage and he sits on a bench and he falls asleep because he's been working himself so hard. Next thing he knows, this beautiful girl has come up and like touched him, and he wakes up and he's like, please don't tell anybody I was asleep. This girl gives him a beautiful smile. And from there, he becomes curious about her and they start to interact. And this young woman's name is Shizu. And Shizu has a secret, a paranormal kind of secret. And the series is essentially the journey of these two getting to know one another and becoming friends. And all of the repercussions that that can have because of Shizu's paranormal element. So with that said, I love this series once again with my whole heart. I cry in that reaction blog, so fair warning if you don't like tears, because it's multiple times. And I still love this. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite series in my collection for a long time. And it was really just a fun journey to revisit this. So it's definitely not leaving the collection. I am very, very happy to have it in my collection still. And then the novel that I ended up rereading in the month of April was Cress by Marissa Meyer. This is the third book in the Lunar Chronicle series, so obviously I can't get too in-depth with what's going on in this book because it is a third book in a series. April and I are rereading the Lunar Chronicle series for our Tell It Again book club. We did do a live show discussing Cress already, so I will leave that linked for you in the card symbol. So if you want our spoilery in-depth thoughts in that gush for about a half an hour, you can definitely check out that video because we both really enjoy this book. On a first read, this one was my favorite, and so far that still stands. And basically, we're following our characters after the events of book 2 that lead them to heading to a satellite to rescue a young girl named Cress from the satellite. And it's really interesting. I'm very it's so good. This series is so well woven together, and you don't even realize until you've reread it all of the pieces that Meyer puts into play early on in the series and the connections that are made throughout. It is really just such a joy to revisit this series. I have thoroughly been enjoying this reread. And I'm definitely looking forward to the winter reread that we will be doing here in May. And it's going to take like 2 weeks because we tend to buddy read this with Lindsay over at Lindsay Tut as well. And so we read about 50 pages a day, and that's over an 800-page book. So it's a long buddy read, but we all love it. And we love discussing it at length. It's a really good time. And again, as I said, I really enjoyed this reread once again. And this is a sci-fi retelling, so this one has a lot of Rapunzel elements to it. The romantic interest for Cress, our Rapunzel type character, is one of my favorite characters in the entire series. And you do get the part where that character is blinded and things like that. It's really well done, really well handled. And the way that fairy tale is effortlessly woven into this overarching story that isn't necessarily a fairy tale and has a lot of darker and deeper elements to it. It's just so well crafted. I can't help but love this series over and over and over again. This is only the second time I've read the series all the way through. I think I've read Cress 3 times. Not Cress, but Cinder 3 times. But the rest of the series I've only read once before now. And so this is the second time I've read it, and I loved it all the more. And I highly recommend checking out the series if you haven't. This one has been out for a while, but it doesn't really have a lot of dated tropes or anything in it. Everything is very well handled, and I love and appreciate this series for what it is. So friends, these are what I ended up rereading in the month of May. As you can see, my rereads for the month of May were very good. I was very happy and very pleased with each one of these reads as I've revisited them. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, if you're new, I would love it if you would subscribe and click the little bell. Also, a like and a comment always makes my day, and you guys know that. You are all so wonderful. I have such an amazing bunch of people who love to watch my content, and I love each and every one of you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.